There's a moment in every person's life when something shifts. You can't explain it. You can't describe it. You only feel it, a quiet pressure building inside you. A restlessness, a discomfort with the life you be. Ben Lieben, a sense that something is wrong. Even if everything looks fine on the outside, and if this video has reached you, if these words found you in this exact moment, there's a reason. Something in you is trying to wake up. Something you've ignored for too long. Something you've pushed into the background, behind routines, responsibilities, and expectations. But here's what no one tells you. Wake-up calls from life rarely feel like inspiration. They feel like breaking. Not because you're weak, but because you're growing beyond the person you were ever meant to stay. Think about this for a moment. Everything you call frustration, emptiness, low motivation, or confusion might not be a problem to fix, but a message to understand. Carl Jung believed that every discomfort is a signal from the unconscious, trying to guide you toward the person you're meant to become. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So, if you feel lost, if you feel misaligned, if you feel like you're drifting through a life that doesn't satisfy you, that isn't random, that isn't failure. It isn't a mistake. It is the beginning of awakening. This is the part most people never realize. Your discomfort is not an enemy. It is an alarm clock. Not the loud kind, not the kind that shocks you awake. It's the kind that whispers, the kind that pulls you quietly out of the dream you've been trapped in, a dream of who you thought you were supposed to be. Because, here's the truth, the life you're living right now is probably too small for who you're becoming, and you feel the walls tightening. You feel the boundaries pressing in. You feel the invisible limits, not from the world, but from your old self. Friedrich Nietzsche believed that every human being is called to outgrow themselves, again and again. He wrote about the idea of the Bermensch, not as superiority, but as self-overcoming, the constant evolution of the self. And the moment this evolution begins, it doesn't feel like empowerment. It feels like tension, growing pains, a quiet internal revolution. Now ask yourself, why now? Why this moment? Why this video? Why these words? Napoleon Hill believed that there are no accidents when it comes to personal transformation. He wrote that desire, pain, fear, and intuition are all forms of inner communication. Messages from the part of you that knows exactly who you could become. So, if you feel pulled to this video, if you feel the strange sense that these words are meant for you, it's because something inside you has already decided. The old chapter is ending, not because it failed, but because you outgrew it. But here's where things become difficult, and this is why most people never change. Your old identity will fight to survive. It will fight with self-doubt, with fear, with procrastination, with excuses that sound logical, with habits that feel comforting but keep you small. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the parts of yourself that resist growth, because growth requires confronting truth. And the truth is this: you know you are capable of more. You have known for a long time. And the longer you avoid that truth, the louder the wake-up call becomes. Think about your own life. Have you noticed the same patterns repeating? The same mistakes? The same emotions showing up no matter what you do? That's not coincidence. That's not bad luck. That is life trying to get your attention. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." And when you lose sight of your why, when you drift, when you shrink, when you set to life pushes you back toward meaning. Sometimes gently, sometimes painfully. And if this has reached you, you're in the middle of that push. But here's what no one tells you about waking up. It doesn't happen with motivation. It happens with honesty. Motivation comes and goes. Inspiration fades. Discipline is important, but it needs something deeper to anchor it. The thing that truly changes your life is this: the moment you admit to yourself that you are no longer willing to live below your potential. This single decision, silent, private, internal, creates a shift that no one else can see. It marks the beginning of a new self. But here's the secret. Most people wait for permission to become better. They wait for clarity. They wait for timing. They wait for confidence. Yet confidence doesn't appear before you act. Clarity doesn't come before you start. Permission never arrives. Napoleon Hill insisted that all transformation begins with one thing: a decision. Not a perfect plan, not a guarantee. Just a decision that you are done with who you were yesterday. Now, think about this. If you were truly satisfied with your life as it is, you wouldn't be watching this. Something called you here. Maybe curiosity, maybe intuition, maybe the ache of something missing. But that ache is not emptiness. It is potential. Potential trying to rise. Potential trying to grow. Potential trying to shake you awake from the sleep of routine. Carl Jung believed that the moment you begin to awaken, you will feel the pull of your individuation, the urge to become your true self. Not the version built from expectations or fear, but this process is not easy. It requires outgrowing people who don't want to grow. It requires letting go of habits that keep you comfortable. It requires rewriting beliefs that once protected you, but now limit you. Friedrich Nietzsche described this as the path of the creator, the journey of someone who chooses to build themselves instead of inherit themselves. But here's the beautiful part. The fact that you are feeling discomfort means you are ready. Life does not push those who are not capable. Life does not wake those who are not prepared. If you are being tested, stretched, shaken, it is because there is something in you worth waking. Think about this. Every major transformation in your life started with a feeling, a sense that something was off, a sense that you were meant for more, a sense that this chapter was no longer your home. This feeling is not weakness. It is guidance. Napoleon Hill said that desire is the starting point of all achievement. But desire doesn't always feel like passion. Sometimes it feels like discomfort, the discomfort of not living your potential. This is your turning point. This is your signal. This is life saying, wake up. You are not done yet. And if you listen, truly listen, you will realize something powerful. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to know the path. You only need to recognize that something in you is rising. And rising is enough. Now, take a breath. Feel that pull inside you. Feel the tension between your present and your potential. Feel the quiet voice you've been ignoring for years. That voice is not random. It is your becoming. And from this moment on, your life will not be the same. Because once you become aware of your awakening, you cannot go back to sleep. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are transforming. And transformation always begins with a whisper. A whisper that becomes a calling. That becomes a choice. That becomes a new life. If this message reached you, it's because something in you is ready for more. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to Becoming You and keep growing with us.